But I think the fact that I had done those sports in high school really helped me to realize how vital doing exercise and staying active was, not only to just being fit, but to your academics as well, because I do find that there is a correlation between when I work out and how well I perform academically in and outside of the classroom.
Hi everyone, I'm Meimei Weston, and this is my friend James Joyce. James, would you mind introducing yourself to everyone?
Yeah, hi, my name is James. I went to Harvard College with Meimei, and I'm actually back at Harvard now in law school, and that is where I'm calling in from right now.
Thanks, James, for being with us here today. I wanted to bring you here today to ask you a little bit about your lifestyle in college. I know you took some time off between college and law school. But let's start off with, were you an athlete before you entered college, Harvard College?
I would say so. I always did a sport in high school. I was on the track team, I threw javelin, I was on the ski team as well.
Okay. And how did that affect your physical activity and your goals, your fitness goals when you were in college?
I would say it kind of gave me a basis on which to kind of start doing physical activities for myself. In high school, I was always pretty easy for me to stay active because I was a part of these teams, and there was a built-in time where right after school you go to practice, you do practice for 2 or 3 hours, and that was your physical activity for the day. It
Mhm.
definitely gets a little harder in college because you're kind of on your own if you're not in a team, which most people aren't, and you have to build athletic activity into your schedule yourself. But I think the fact that I had done those sports in high school really helped me to realize how vital doing exercise and staying active was, not only to just being fit, but to your academics as well, because I do find that there is a correlation between when I work out and how well I perform academically in and outside of the classroom. But kind of having that basis off which to start, doing sports in high school definitely did help me figure out what I need to do on my own in terms of staying active in college.
Right. And so you're talking about the effect of physical activity on your cognitive performance in school. One thing about Harvard is that the academics are pretty arduous, as in most universities as well. How were you balancing the physical activity demands as well as academics? You're very social as well. I know you liked fishing. There are lots of things that were pulling at your time and your demands. So how did you manage that? And how did you still fit in the fitness?
I mean, the one thing I did, which I think was vital to that, is just not compromising on having some sort of physical activity for the day, whether it be going on a run or going and lifting weights in the gym. That was always a part of my schedule that was non-negotiable. If I had a conflict between that and having a bunch of work to do, or between that and having the opportunity to do something social, it always work out because I've always just found, I'm sure you feel the same, that my mind gets really cloudy when I don't work out. I don't perform as well. I'm just not as happy. So just kind of building that block into the day and not compromising on it. I would change the time certainly depending on if I had events I wanted to go to or something I wanted to do. But if I had to wake up a little earlier to work out, I would do that because it's just something I built in my schedule, something I knew I had to do to be happy and perform well. And just I think not compromising on having a block where I was going to exercise and work towards my fitness goals
Right.
was something that helped me a lot.
Right. Yeah, it's not always easy to not dip into that time that you set aside for yourself, but it sounds like you did. Yeah, it sounds like you did a great job of that. What were some of your fitness goals? So what were your? Did you have weekly goals, monthly goals? Um, how did you structure that?
So I'd say I had two big goals. The first was I wanted to run a half marathon, which I had the opportunity to do my sophomore year. I never officially run one, and it's something I always wanted to do. And a few of my friends were doing it during my sophomore year. They pitched it to me at the end of freshman year, and we trained all summer and then throughout the beginning of the year as well. Once we came to college for sophomore year, and that was definitely a big one. I had never trained for a race that long. It's something I really enjoyed. So that was a big goal of mine. I was very happy to have achieved it. Another one is that I had never really consistently lifted weights before college. In high school, we do it from time to time, like once a week maybe, as part of our teams. But actually going to the gym and lifting weights every day is something I never done until after high school. So a goal of mine was just to learn how to do that and become consistent and develop a routine in terms of lifting weights, which I was able to do with advice from others and just from going to the gym every day. And that was also a big goal of mine, just learning how to do that and kind of developing a routine. routine.
Mm. Now, I lifted with you a few times, and I believe that I showed you the correct deadlift form. Are you still deadlifting?
I am not. I need you to come back. I really need more lessons, I think, in deadlifting. It's technical. It's so technical. They don't tell you that. Well, you did tell me that, but no,
I
they don't tell
tried.
you that.
I'll give it another go. I'll have to give it another go. So, did your physical activity regime change when you left college and you were working? You were working full time in DC, if I have that correct.
I was, yeah. So I was bartending in DC. The only things that really changed were the time that I worked out. Once the easy thing about working out in college is that the gym is, well, I don't want to say free because you're still paying for it, but it's open to everybody and you can go whenever you want. Whereas after college, you don't really have a gym that's right next door to you that you've already paid for. So I had to find a gym, become a member there, which wasn't too hard of a process. And then the only thing, as I said, that changed really the time. My hours as a bartender, I tended to work pretty late. So it's pretty easy for me to just go at like 10, 11 a.m. when no one else is really at the gym and lift there. So I'd say that made it a little bit easier for me. But that's the only thing that really changed. Other than that, I was doing the same stuff pretty much, going on runs. DC is a little warmer than Boston, so it was a little more pleasant to run. But nothing changed way too much.
Okay, and what about now in law school?
I'd say the same exact thing. I still go to it's kind of more like college, I guess, where I have access to a gym, so I feel more inclined to go. I go every day, and I'll either do that or go on runs. And it's once again, I'd say it's gotten a little harder to fit that into my schedule. It's kind of back to what it was like in college, just because of the volume of work. But just not compromising on having that time where you're being active is something I found very important. As I said, I do feel like I perform better on my work, my homework, and in the classroom on cold calls when I've gone to the gym and just my mind is clear. Like that's genuinely, I think, some scientific thing that's going on in my brain that I don't understand. But not compromising on that once again is still, I found that still very important from college to law school.
Right. Have you found a community in the gym that since you're going almost every day now?
A little bit too much of a community, I think. My section, which is the group of kids that I take all my classes with, we have this gym group chat that I was added to, and every time you see someone else, you like take a picture, and you're like, "Oh, James looking big on like the machine." So I open my phone, I'm like, "Oh, that's a picture of me lifting weights."
Oh,
In the group chat.
well,
But no, really, everyone. I think 80% of the people in my section go to the gym every day, so it's kind of cool to see them there and have that encouragement.
that sounds very encouraging. And it sounds like you found a team outside of organized sport. So
You can almost say that, couldn't you?
could almost say that. Could almost say that. Now let's touch a little bit on your nutrition. Is that a part of your life that you focus on in terms of your healthy living habits?
It definitely is. I like to cook meals for myself. For one, just because it's cheaper, and for two, because I don't always trust necessarily what you're getting at like a restaurant or from fast food. So I kind of like having all the base ingredients and combining them myself because then I know what's in my food and I know that there's no added like random things. So I think cooking for myself is something that's very important to me, and that kind of goes hand in hand with the nutrition, just eating healthy and knowing what I'm putting in my body.
Mm. Okay. In terms of nutrition, what are your favorite three meals that you might cook?
Favorite three meals. Okay. I had a very good one 2 days ago that I just learned how to make. It was scallop risotto. But what we did was he got me and my good friend got scallops from the fish market down the street. They were fresh caught. We bought them off like from the fisherman. We brought them back, and then we made some risotto with fresh butternut squash and carrots, like a puree that we mixed in, and then we seared the scallops and threw them on the risotto. It was like the best meal I've had in my life. It was so delicious.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, this sounds very luxurious.
It was so good. It was also insanely cheap too, because when you buy seafood straight from the fisherman, it's obviously at a lot lower price. So it was cheap and fresh.
Oh,
Um, Another meal I really enjoy is chicken adobo. It's pretty easy to make. It's a Filipino dish, but it's like chicken, soy sauce, and vinegar, and you're just throwing the chicken thighs in the oven for like an hour after you mix those around. It's delicious over rice. Probably one of my favorite things to eat. And then something I'll make a little more basically in the mornings is just oatmeal. I'll just combine my oats, my peanut butter, my fruit, and then the most important ingredient, maple syrup, natural, has to be from Vermont or upstate New York. No compromises there.
Canada?
Sometimes some good ones. Only American syrup for me.
Oh, I don't know if I can condone that.
But you
What,
got it.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
What fruit do you add to your oatmeal?
Banana and berries. So I'll have banana, and then I'll add some strawberries, raspberry, blueberries, whatever I got going on at home. But syrup most important. It has to be 100% maple syrup. None of that Aunt Jemima stuff.
Well, come up to Canada and you got the real stuff up here. That's all I'm saying.
So they say.
Yeah. Well, perfect. James, thanks so much for joining us. We touched a little bit on your physical activity regime as well as your nutrition. And sounds like you're living a very healthy, balanced life. Thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.